Hi, this is John from Proper Coils, and today we're having a look at the Atemporal Boro RBA from Damn Vape. So here we have the Atemporal Boro RBA from Damn Vape. I'm not going to show you the back of the packaging because there is URLs and websites which YouTube do not like. So we'll open her up. In the back of the packaging we have a box of mesh strips. Now this is used for wicking material. Instead of using steel cables, they're using mesh as their wicking material. We have the Boro device, which we'll look at in a second. We have a little baggie here with a 510 drip tip, some O-rings, a flush nut, and some airflow adapters. I'll show you how they work when we have a look at the Boro tank itself. There's also some plugs in there, and I'll show you what they are for when we look at the Boro tank itself. This little baggie, accessory baggie, has some grub screws, an Allen key, some more O-rings, and a spare airflow slider, which I'll show you again when we look at the Boro tank. And then we have this plate here. Now, I'm presuming this plate is for when you're putting your Boro tank on a device to burn in your coils. I'm presuming that's what that is. Otherwise, I don't actually know what that is. And this is a little rip-off of the coily tool, so it's going to help you cut your leads to a certain length. And that is what's in the little Ziploc bag. So we'll open this up. Now this has been used. I've been using this for, I have this now about 3 weeks. So there is a bit of moisture in the bag. Everyone loves that word, moisture. So any water you see or any moisture you see is from me using it and cleaning it. But it was in perfect condition when I got it. So on the bottom here you have obviously your 510. Now this piece here, as far as I can tell, this piece here is for decorative purposes only. There is no functional reason for this other than it hides the threads of the 510 when it's sitting in the Boro device. On the back here we have some grub screws. That is where you're going to tighten down your coil. On the top here you have your threaded section for your flush nut. On the front here you have some design which goes the whole way around the device. And you can see here you have some honeycomb airflow on the top. So the way the airflow works is that you can either leave it fully wide open or you can put in these little inserts. So we have 3 inserts. I'll put them in my hands because it's hard to see because they're clear. So these are the 3 sizes of airflows. So you have a mouth to lung, a restricted direct lung, and a direct lung, or you can have it wide open. Now these just slide in. You can see there, you can slide them in. This is the mouth to lung one, and it'll restrict it right down to 3 holes. And then you have a slightly more open one. And then you have the most open one. So this one here. So if you put this one in, you can cut off 1 row, or you can slide it in, push it right to the bottom, and it's going to give you full airflow. Again, you can adjust it to your preference. I've been running it just fully wide open. That's the way I've been liking this. I don't think this is designed for a mouth to lung vape. 3 holes is still too loose for me for a mouth to lung. So I think if you're looking for a Boro tank designed primarily for mouth to lung, this is not going to be the one for you. This is a little slider that lets you fill your tank. So you slide that over, fill your tank and slide it back. And there is some O-rings. There's a little bit of tension there when you slide it over fully. I have a little gripe with this, so I feel like there should be some sort of stopper here because this thing comes completely out. And a couple of times when I was filling it, it popped out, and I was searching on my hands and knees on the floor trying to find where it was. And it's only a small little plastic slider, so it's fairly hard to see if you drop it. So I would like a little stopper there. Now the reason they probably don't have a stopper there is because you can take this off and you can change it to different coloured plastic pieces. There's a lot of accessory pieces that can come with this, different coloured items that you can accessorize with. You can change the colour of the Boro tank itself. So that's probably the reason. But I would like to have seen, even if it was something a little ridged there, so it'll take a bit of pressure to pop it off. On the bottom here we have your 510, so you're going to screw that onto a device to burn in your coils. You can see there already there is some rolled up pieces of mesh that's going to work as your wick. In my opinion, the rolled up pieces of mesh wick better than steel rods. Some people might disagree with that, but in my opinion, they wick better. We'll open up the deck. So it's a postless deck. You're going to drop your coils straight in. Unlike most Boro devices, it's not going to be opposing legs. So on a lot of Boro devices, you might have a leg this side and a leg this side, and your coil is going to have opposing legs. Whereas this one, your coil legs are going to be facing the same way, and it's going to be dropped straight in. You can see the top here. That's the top of your mesh strips that are rolled. So that's where you're going to get your wicking from. So you're going to stick a coil here, leg here, wick here, wick here. Very simple to build on. And the mesh strips wick very well. I've had no wicking issues whatsoever. You can take two of these, or even one of these rolled up mesh strips out, and there's plugs in the accessory bags, and you can put a plug in here and put a plug in here. It comes with two plugs, so you can plug up half the mesh rolls. And the idea of that is, if you're using a mount-along build, you're not going to need as much wicking as it's going to give you at 4. So you can drop it down to 2 and put the two plugs in, and then put in your mount-along coil, and away you go. So the way the airflow works, so it's basically side-on airflow. So you have your honeycomb airflow here, and it's going to hit the coil from one side. There's no airflow on this side, so it's only one-sided airflow. Now it is a fairly condensed chamber. From looking at the outside, you would think, Jesus, there's going to be a lot of room in there, but the walls on both sides are fairly thick, so it is a fairly condensed chamber. You are going to get good flavour from this just by looking, without even using this. Anyone with a bit of knowledge of rebuildables will know that you're going to get good flavour from this, because it's a condensed chamber and the coil is sitting right on your mouthpiece. So you're going to get flavour very close to your mouth, which is obviously going to be a good thing. The only worry you would have is if you put too low of a build in this, run it at too high of wattage, and it might heat up a bit. But it's a Boro device, so you don't want to be putting anything too low in this. So coil size wise, you're looking at anything from 2.5 to 3. I wouldn't be going any bigger than that or any smaller than that. Today we're going to be putting in some Boro aliens from propercoils.com. So these are going to ohm out at 0.26 single coil. Now I'm going to have to add half a wrap to these, because the Boro aliens at propercoils.com come with opposing legs. So I'm going to either have to take away half a wrap, which I think would drop the resistance round to about 0.2, what I think is a bit too low for a Boro device. So we're going to add a wrap onto this. So it's going to bring the resistance to above 0.3, so it's probably going to sit around the 0.35 mark, which should be fine. So these are made up of 3 by 28 gauge nichrome wrapped in 36 gauge nichrome, 5.5 wraps. So it's going to end up being a 6 wrap coil once we add the half wrap. And the inner diameter is 2.5 millimeters. So that is the coils we're going to be using. So the capacity of the tank is 4 mil. This metal piece is for tightening down your flush nut. So we're actually going to pop this out of the accessory pouch, because we're going to need that shortly. Now, before we put a coil in this, I want to just show you some accessories. So I'm going to pop up on screen some of the different colors you can get. There is a lot of accessories for this device, so you can change the color of your Boro tank to several different colors. I'm going to throw them up on the screen now. You can also buy accessory doors for your billet box, for your Cthulhu AIO and the Pulse AIO. So I have a SXK billet box here. So we're going to change around the doors of this. Now the advantage of doing this is the fact that the airflow is designed on these doors for the RBA itself. So you're going to have the airflow coming in directly at the top. Now it does, I have tried this without the doors, the regular billet box doors, and it gives you a bit of a more restricted airflow. It doesn't cut the airflow off completely. Obviously there is gaps between the sides of the Boro device and the billet box, but to get maximum airflow, I would suggest buying the custom doors from Damn Vape. If you're buying the RBA, they're not expensive. I can't say prices and where to get them, but they're very, very cheap, and they're actually fairly thick. They're decent, well-made doors. They're not flimsy, so they're going to last you. And I think it looks pretty cool with the clear doors on the black. That looks pretty cool. So we put some coils in this. So yeah, let's get these Boro aliens into this device. So that is the Atemporal Boro RBA, all wicked up, coiled up and juiced up. Let's bring it back up top and I'll give you my pros and cons. So back up top with the Atemporal Boro RBA from Damn Vape. So let's go through the pros and the cons. The first con, and probably the biggest con for me, is the fact that it doesn't really accommodate billet boxes or billet box style devices that have side airflow. So on the side of this SXK billet box, you can see that there is side airflow only. To get maximum airflow from this, you need to buy the doors, which is going to be a con. There is a recently released RBA, which I'm going to have for review next week. It should be coming this week. I'm probably going to review it next week. Ponte RBA from Mr. Just Right 1 and Arc Vape. And the way that's designed is it has channels up the sides, which will allow airflow to travel up the side of the RBA, hit the top airflow, and give you maximum airflow. Whereas with this, you need to buy the custom panels that have the cutout at the top. It's not ideal. That little design is a really good idea, I think, and it would have made this device a lot better, I think. Now, if you buy the doors, again, as I said in the download, they're not expensive. So if you're buying the RBA, you really need to buy the doors to get the most out of this. But the fact that you have to buy the doors to get the most out of it is obviously going to be a con. The fact that it doesn't do mouth to lung, and I generally don't use any of my Boro devices for mouth to lung, but the airflow and the airflow insert it comes with isn't really designed for mouth to lung, in my opinion. The 3 holes you're left with the smallest insert doesn't give you a tight enough mouth to lung vape, so it's sort of not accommodating for all different vape styles. So that's definitely going to be a con. The fact that the fact that the little slider doesn't have a stopper and it can pop out, and it's a pain in the ass trying to find it if you drop it, which I did a couple of times. And the last con is going to be the fact that the 510 doesn't actually sit flush. So this is a custom 510. This is off the Dwarf. It doesn't sit flush with the mod because you have to use their nut at the top to fit their flush nut. And that's going to be a con. I don't think it looks as good as it could if their flush nut also accommodated the 510, which would mean your drip tip would be flush with the box. So that definitely is going to be a con. On to the pros then. The fact that you get a shitload of accessories and a shitload of colours, and you can customize it loads of different ways. The fact that you get accessories for the Pulse AIO, for the Cthulhu AIO, and the Billet box is obviously going to be a pro. Loads of different options to customize it, and if you're into your Boro stuff, you're going to like customizing stuff, so that's obviously going to be a good thing. Price wise, this is not expensive. I can't give you links to websites or tell you where to get it, but you just need to use your Google. It's not expensive. It's very reasonably priced, like a lot of the Damn Vape stuff is, so that's going to be a pro. Flavor wise, this thing gives you very good flavor. It's for me, in my opinion, you need undercoil airflow for like optimal flavor, but this is going to give you good flavor because the coil is set so high. It's very close to the drip tip, and it wicks really well. Those rolled up mesh wicking rods, or whatever you call them, they work, and in my opinion they wick better than a stainless steel rod. The deck is really easy to build on. Cut your legs. I went for 6. You could probably go for 7, to be honest with you. Cut your legs to 7 mil and drop them straight in. It's very easy to build, very easy to wick. The only way you could go wrong probably is too much cotton. Cut it to the side of the deck and thin it out, drop it in, away you go. So overall, I think it's a really good device. I think the pros outweigh the cons. Most of the cons are only small things, minor things. The big thing is about the airflow, not accommodating to side airflow Boro devices, but other than that, it's only minor things. The pros definitely outweigh the cons. So in my opinion, really good device. But you need to be into your restricted rack lung or the rack lung to get the most out of it. So yeah, that was the review of the Atemporal Boro RBA device from Damn Vape. If you like the review, or you like the reviews in general, make sure you hit the subscribe and the notification bell. If you're looking for any handmade coils, make sure you head over to propercoils.com. I hope you enjoyed the review. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.